Welcome to AGR 201, which has a really long course title. It's Resources, Food, and Society, a Global Perspective. As you can see, generally I just shorten it up and talk about world ag resources, and that's kind of what the focus is going to be. Not only that, as well as meeting the food needs of the growing population of the world. I am Don Meyer. I'm your instructor for the 4-week course. My office location is listed here. However, since it's an online class, we probably may not need that location. But most importantly, I want you to be comfortable with my email address, because if we correspond, probably email is the easiest way for us to do that. And you can see it posted here. It's also on the syllabus, which is on ReggieNet, and it will also appear several times in this PowerPoint. My office phone number is also listed. If you leave me a voicemail, it will also create an email to me, and I will try to respond to your needs, whatever they may be. I try to pride myself on being a very accessible teacher. I think some of you have had me for classes before, and you should get a response within 24 hours of within any contact you make, barring any technical problems on my end. I'm very interactive with students, unlike what I hear from other instructors who don't like to make many responses. You should hear back from me if there's something we need to chat about. So I look forward to the participation in the course together. This is what we're going to try to cover in this PowerPoint, and I'm not going to read the bullet points. You can take a look at those as I drone on here. By the way, this is going to be about a 15-minute PowerPoint or less, probably 14 to 15 minutes in total, kind of giving you a background of the course. Almost everything that you hear from me here should be in writing also on ReggieNet, so there should be no surprises. I will also be using announcements quite frequently in the class so that we stay in touch. But sometimes it's nice to hear things verbally, and this will be the only slide set that you'll see my picture appear in. Always nice to get to know who my instructor is and how old is this guy. He sounds really old. Well, now you have a visual of what I'm going to be looking like here. But the rest of the PowerPoints that I'll post this semester will not be visual. They'll simply be the slide and me narrating behind the scenes. So these are some of the topics we're going to cover here in the next slides ahead. I want you to be prepared, because one of your first assignments I'm going to have you do, and I'll give you more information online about how to do this, is to introduce yourself. I'm very much a student-centered instructor, and I'm sharing this so that you can get to know me. But likewise, I'd like to get to know a bit more about my students. So I'm going to challenge you to think about giving me an introduction by video. And I'll give you instructions. The free software that I'm using, that shouldn't cost you any money. It's called Screencast-O-Matic. And you can use a PowerPoint background and create a slide set just like I've done. Maybe 3 or 4 or 5 slides about yourself. Please share whatever you're comfortable in sharing, but I'm not going to try to pry for information that you're not comfortable in sharing. But I'm always focused on, do you have a job in mind? What would you like to do when you graduate here from Illinois State University? All right, this is a 4-week course, and right up front, I won't apologize for the fact that it's going to be a very busy class. When you look at the second bullet point, it's a 3-credit-hour course, and if you were to sit in my classroom in a regular semester, you'd be sitting there for 45 hours. So if you do the quick math and divide 45 by 4 weeks, that's almost 12 hours a week. That would be a typical comparison. And that doesn't count your study time or your prep time or preparing your paper, which you'll be doing for the class. So it's going to take you several hours a day to keep up during this 4-week session. And so right up front, if you're not comfortable with that, you're balancing 2 or 3 jobs, this is not one that's going to be not a time-consuming class. So please be sure that you have plenty of time. And I want to be very, very comfortable that you understand the structure of the class. The third bullet point talks about modules, and you'll hear me use that a lot in this 4-week course. We're going to try to cover 1 module each week of class, and each module is standalone, and we'll have exams tied to that module. There'll be some assignments to do from the book, and I hope you have the book, and if not, you need to express order that book, because you'll need it the first week of classes. The assignment will be available to answer Mondays through Thursdays, and they're not timed, but you do want to save your work in ReggieNet so you don't lose it as you exit and come back tomorrow to finish it. Those assignments should all come from readings in the book. Now, there will be an exam at the end of the week also from the book. Many of the questions may be the very same question, but there will likely be some additional questions. So you don't want to just simply answer the questions and assume you have it covered. You do want to take the time to read the chapters and maybe even make a few notes to yourself so that you can do better on the exams on the weekend. There will be 2 exams each weekend, and the exams will be available Friday morning, probably 7 a.m. through Sunday evening at 11 p.m., and those will be timed exams. And so each of the modules has a set of exams over the weekend from Friday through Sunday for you to complete. The PowerPoints will be taken down on Thursday night, so that you'll need to have all your notes done by Thursday evening so that you're ready for the exams on Friday. I will also be providing guided note pages for each of the PowerPoints. So if you want to make the full utilization of the class, you'll want to print off the guided note pages so that as you're listening to me and also looking at the PowerPoints, you can complete the guided note pages, which will essentially make the exam from the PowerPoints an open note exam. And I think that'll be helpful to you. Each of the PowerPoints will have a 2 or 3 page set of guided notes. It saves you having to write every single word down. You can simply write down the words that are missing in the guided notes, and most students have said they like those, so I've continued to supply those even with my online class this summer. Finally, on this slide, I want to mention that there is a paper and a presentation expected from this class. There are instructions on Reginet as to what you're to do and what the deadlines are, and the grading rubric is also posted. You're going to take on a developing country, and I've got a list of countries to choose from, and you're going to get approval for that country from me so we don't have duplicates, and you're going to present a paper to me by email. I will grade that as a Word document, and I can give you that back to give you guidance on helping you write papers. And then also you'll do a narrated PowerPoint. You don't necessarily have to do video of yourself with the PowerPoint, but I do want it to be a PowerPoint, and you can use the narration feature of PowerPoint, and it doesn't put your picture up there like the Screencast-O-Matic software does. But either is acceptable, but I want you to do a narrated PowerPoint. And those will be posted, and essentially the 4th module will be each of you presenting a 5 to 10 minute paper about a country, and you're going to submit to me some multiple choice questions. And so much of the 4th exam will be a student guided, student taught section. I've never tried that before, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we can get this to work. And it's also going to give you some experience working through the technology. After all, if this old dog can do technology, certainly you guys with your experience level can do the technology as well. A brief background about me. This is not what the course is about, but it's nice to know. I grew up in a small town north of Bloomington Normal by the name of Gridley. My official title is a lecturer in agriculture. I currently reside in the small town of Lexington. If you're driving from here to Chicago or the suburbs, you'll see it about the 2nd exit on I-55 between here and Chicago. I started my career 6 years as a high school ag teacher, and then I spent 27 years working with Extension. And Extension covers a wide variety of topics, and we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help farmers, to help homeowners with problems, to help guide the 4-H youth program. Some of you may be familiar with Extension, but I spent most of my career doing that, and you'll find a lot of my Extension experiences will be coming into play in this course. I actually started teaching part-time at ISU since 1987. I started using vacation time from my job because I missed my classroom teaching, and so I was able to do some part-time courses. That's before many of you were born, I'm sure, in this class. I've been full-time since August of 2010 when I retired from Extension work. I'm a firm believer in getting involved in your communities after you graduate, whatever your career ends up being. Some of my background experiences, I've been a pilot, I've been a volunteer fireman before. I've volunteered a lot, not only in my town, but also in our county activities. Been involved in church. I've been a youth 4-H leader. I've been involved with helping my own kids with coaching of their softball, soccer, and baseball teams. So I like to get involved. I encourage you to do likewise when you launch your career as well. I grew up in a small family farm. I had 2 older sisters. I am married. My wife works here at ISU, and I have 2 young adults. I used to call them children, but they're slightly older than you are probably in my class, so I call them young adults now. My daughter is a high school teacher, and my son is now a banker. I have a BS from ISU, a master's from U of I, and I did about 15 hours toward a doctorate program. But when the kids came along in the family and my job at Extension got to be very busy, I abandoned my efforts toward getting my EDD. I was pursuing an educational doctorate degree, and I focused on my career and my family instead. In addition to my retirement, I'm also a farmland broker. I sell farmland, and I also manage farms, and I'm an auctioneer. I talk fast, as you can already tell, and I have a lot of fun with auctioneer and auctioneer chants, but I promise I won't do any chanting in class. I've taught a wide variety of courses here at ISU in the past 6 years. I enjoy the variety, and my Extension experience has allowed me to bring a lot of that information into a wide variety of courses. And I've actually split my time between 2 departments, between Ag Department as well as Family Consumer Science. I've done a lot of money management and resource management programs for the consumer program here at ISU as well. Before I came back full-time, I taught some landscape, horticulture, agronomy, and ag education classes in addition. All right, we already talked about this a little bit, but email-wise, probably your best way to contact me is by email, and there it is again. That's my office phone number again. I will be very responsive to your needs in terms of helping you with the course. Our course topics, and I'm not going to read these to you, you'll see them on the syllabus, but we essentially have different topics each of the weeks. You can see week 1, we're going to kind of lay the background for the class, talk about world population and the growing need for food. We'll talk about agriculture as well, some basic definitions. In week 2, we'll talk about some of the controversial parts of agriculture. And then we have a couple presentations of some folks that presented to my class in person this past semester in spring. I'm bringing back, I have their movie clips online. I have a student who grew up in Rwanda, which is in Africa, and a local farmer who does mission work in Zimbabwe, and their presentations will be a part of Module 2. Module 3 will include PowerPoints talking about malnutrition, the end of poverty, food policy as it relates to the world hunger, and we also have another presentation of from a volunteer about Nicaragua in Central America. So we're trying to acquaint you with some of the world issues out there, trying to bring the world to this class. And as I mentioned earlier, you guys are going to present the materials from week 4. All right, very, very essential. I hope by now you've already had your email from me that I sent 2 or 3 weeks ago. Hopefully you have your book in hand. You will need access to this book in week 1, so please be sure you have this book. We won't cover every single chapter, but we'll cover at least half of the book. It sells for about $20, so it's not a terribly expensive book. I'm conscious of how expensive textbooks are. Be sure you have the right edition. I know on eBay or on Amazon sometimes they have older editions, but the assignments and the exam questions will be based on the 4th edition of this book. Again, as I mentioned earlier, be prepared. I would like for you to jot down these 6 items, 6 or 7 items that you would want to include in your PowerPoint as you present your video to the class and introduce yourself. All right, ReggieNet very quickly. I noticed this is a snapshot of ReggieNet. It should be live here by the time you see this PowerPoint. And the tabs I'm going to use are on the left-hand side. We will spend time probably each day or twice a week. You'll get announcements from me. Your grades will be posted online. The resources tab will be a very busy tab for us in this class. All of your assignments and tests will be in the test and quizzes tab. If we go in the resources tab, notice it's bolded on the left. I've got 4 folders, and you can see the plus sign tells you that there are some materials that are already loaded, ready to go. The class organization folder has the syllabus. It has this video in case you want to play it back one more time. Any other materials that are background for the class. Each of the 4-week modules are set up as a group of materials, and then the paper presentation information as well as a video talking further about the paper and presentation is in the bottom folder. Format of the course, we'll have narrated PowerPoints each week. Those will not be posted during the exam. There are guided note pages available and encourage you to use them. The assignments are going to come from the book, and they're in the test and quizzes tab. The exams, both the book and the PowerPoints, will be Friday through Sunday, and they are timed. There's 500 points total for the class, including the paper and presentation. The assessments will appear in the test and quizzes tab, and they will look like this. You'll notice the book questions, that would be your assignment, and then the 2 tests would be the weekend activities. We want you to be sure to check ReggieNet daily. I will be sending you frequent announcements. Please make sure you're checking your ISU email accounts during the course so that we can stay in contact. If we have any ReggieNet breakdowns especially, it's important that we're on the same page. Please participate in the class. Please do your own work on assignments and exams. I will be looking for your activity regularly each week. I don't want to see a drop off. If you missed any material, that's a huge amount of your grade since it's only a 4-week course. Now at this time I want you to think further about your introduction. Please respond to the topics on the next slide. You're going to share a bit about yourself. You're going to do your own slideshow. I used YouTube for mine. There'll be there'll be assignment points for posting your video. And many of you probably made videos before, but there's also a program called Screencast-O-Matic, which is free. Don't spend any money on it. You can use the free version because that's what I use. That allows you 15 minutes to post a video. And I want you to create a video to answer the topics listed. And I look forward to your introductions. Now it's your turn, and these are the topics that I would like for you to be sure and cover in your material. So you might want to freeze this, jot them down, and that will be the structure for your PowerPoint. And I want to see your picture and your narration on this particular PowerPoint video. I look forward to this. I look forward to getting to know each of you. And again, welcome to Ag 201.